Hi, it's Mitch from SportsChatPlace.com here with Ron Romanelli for Ron's Take for the NFL weekend for Week 4 of the 2021 NFL season. Of course, SportsChatPlace.com. Free picks on all the games, and of course at SportsChatPlace.com Premium, our best bets and best bets from some of the top handicappers in the world. Ron, we enter Week 4 of the NFL season. Time is flying. Almost a quarter of the way done with the NFL season already. And, the cream rising to the top, but still some unconvincing cream at the top and some really unconvincing stones at the bottom as well. I think a lot left to be decided this NFL season. Well, let's get it started. Your first game that we're doing is the Giants and the Saints. This one in New Orleans. The Saints' first home game.
Yeah, the first home game for New Orleans. I like the under in this one. When you look at the Giants, offense, probably the worst offense in the league. Offensive line has really struggled this season. Daniel Jones is still struggling at the quarterback position, and even though they brought in some wide receiver talent with Galladay, just hasn't panned out for the Giants. And the Saints defense, they're not allowing much. I mean, we saw a tenacious performance by New Orleans on the road at New England last week. Didn't give much to Mac Jones and the Patriots offense. I think the Saints take an early lead in this one and don't look back. I could see a blowout by the Saints, but I honestly think this is the type of team that's just going to take the lead, control the tempo, and get to the end of the game. We saw that against the Patriots last week. It was 28-13, but it was a lot worse than that score says. So I like the under in this one, and I'll lean towards the Saints laying the points.
The Giants are just absolutely hideous, and I know the public just going to be all over the Saints in this one. Mara said he would boo the Giants as well, but I think the Giants are booing themselves. They got to be. They absolutely stink. I think Judge just has been a lame duck coach since the day they hired him. Some of these NFL coaching hires, I never will understand. The Philadelphia hire, the Detroit hire, and this guy, all right on that same list. So I don't know. I don't love it. Then we got the Washington football team taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Speaking of beating the Giants, the Falcons even did that at the Giants. Meanwhile, Washington football team 1-2 on the season, and I'd say that the Washington football team defense, one of the more disappointing units across the board in the NFL this season.
I completely agree. I mean, I think the wrong team is favored here. You got a Washington football team defense that had so much hype going into the season. Let's look at the numbers. I mean, they've allowed 31 points per game and 432 total yards per game. That's second last in total yards allowed, and it's fourth worst in points allowed per game. The Falcons' defense is nothing to write home about, but it was strong against the Giants last week, and I do think Atlanta at home has a lot more weapons offensively, and they started to find a rhythm in that last game against the Giants. I think that the Falcons are just slightly the better team. And at home, as a dog, I think that there's some value there. So I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah, I like the Falcons in this one as well. I'm not seeing it from Washington yet, and until I do, I can't really go there. Keep moving on, a little bit bigger and better things. We got the Ravens going to Mile High, taking on the Broncos. The Broncos finally got home last week, got the win against the Jets. But we look at who have the Broncos played. The Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars. Not a win among them. Not even, of course, they've played 3 games, each of those teams. And, the Broncos aided in that winlessness. But at the same time, they haven't even been competitive in any of those games. This is the stiffest test here for the Broncos. The Ravens, of course, have won 7 of their last 8 regular season games, including that game against Kansas City.
Yeah, I think the Broncos defense is being slept on still, even to this point in the season. I know, like you said, they play the Giants and Jags and Jets, oh my, but they're still number 1 ranked against all 3 of these teams in terms of yards allowed. The Giants, Jags, and Jets did much better against the other 2 teams that they faced this season offensively. So you look at this Broncos team, I don't really love the way their offense is set up, and now you have another injury to their receiving core with KJ Hamler going down for the season. Jerry Jeudy's going to be out for a few weeks as well, so an already thin offense got a lot thinner. I worry about them moving the ball in this game. I know Bridgewater is one of the best cover quarterbacks there is right now, but I think this is going to be an overall defensive battle. I didn't like the way the Ravens' offense looked against the Lions of all teams, and now you're going a mile high. I think points are going to be really hard to come by in this game, so I like the under. I expect a very low-scoring game.
Well, Tucker coming off a 66-yard field goal indoors. What can he do in altitude? 76 yards. It should be interesting to see if they give him a chance. The time when it would happen is either a game winner or right before the end of the half. Right, is when he would get a chance to see what he can do. I'm interested to watch just on that alone. We go to our last game, and of course, this one big interest game. Tom Brady returns back to the scene of the crime, back to New England. I'm going to guess he's going to get a standing ovation like you never heard before, and. It should be interesting to see. He's calling it a business trip. The Patriots have not really looked too good this season so far. The game against Miami, I think it could have gone either way, but this past week against the Saints, it was a one-sided affair. That was much worse than the score.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Patriots. Obviously, like you said, they're going to give Brady definitely a standing ovation. They're going to be very gracious there in New England, but they are definitely going to want to beat Tom Brady. I'm not sure that they do that in this one, but this is a Sunday Night Football game at Foxborough. It's not going to be easy for the Buccaneers to come in and beat up the Patriots. I know the offense looked miserable last week against the Saints, but the defense did hold up well. And I think the defense is going to be the mainstay for the Patriots in this game and for the rest of the season. You look at the Buccaneers, the thing that worries me about Tampa Bay is that they haven't been able to run the ball. They don't even really try to run the ball. I think they are the last-ranked team in total rushing attempts this season. And the lack of a true running game has me a bit worried. You got to be two-dimensional in offense. And, I know Brady's been excellent this season, and he's the GOAT, but they definitely need to have a running game if they're going to want to repeat. I think the Patriots play a field position kind of game and keep this one close. Just getting too many points at home here with a good home team against the spread. The Patriots are one of the best spread teams in recent years. I'll take New England and the points. I think it's going to be a field goal game that the Bucs win.
I think Tom Brady's dialed in on this one. I think he's laser focused. I just don't think the Patriots have a lot of answers right now. I think they're in trouble. I'm going to have to disagree and say this one's all Bucs. But anyways, that wraps up our NFL segment for this week. We appreciate it, Ron. And, of course, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Check out Ron's Take every Saturday and Sunday right here at Sports Chat Place YouTube channel.